You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, Pop-Up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, and drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you, see you, see you.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is, if getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Cocktail Lounge. I am your hostess with the mostest, Aggie, and with me, as always, is the ever suave, affable, and quaffable Brad Slager. How are you doing this evening, Brad?
We're doing good. We're doing good. I'm just sitting by the side of the road and commenting on all the mayhem that drives by. Such is my life.
I've seen the roads where, you live out in Florida. They're kind of nice roads.
I was speaking really more metaphorical.
I know.
It was actually kind of funny because they're currently filming Bad Boys 4 down here. And they're biding time between South Beach and down on Fort Lauderdale Beach as well. And there's been a few people that said, they were watching a chase scene or something. It's like, wow, they really got the Florida driver thing down, Pat. That's the kind of humor we have here.
So there's the fourth installment of Bad Boys. There's going to be a fifth installment of Lethal Weapon. So I'm excited about that because Danny Glover, Mel Gibson, and Joe Pesci will be in it. So that should be fun.
All I'm going to say about that is just proof positive that even though they are too old for this shit, they're still not too old for this shit.
Exactly. As I understand it, it's during their retirement years that they live in Miami. So it should be interesting.
Wow. Really now? Okay. Well,
yeah, so look into that because I'm sure that filming is still going on and everything.
Yeah, they're trying to do the burgeoning film market thing down here, so it's still going on. But I'm still cracking up at the people that were commenting after the Will Smith episode, with the Oscars, and he slaps Chris Rock, and he should get kicked out of Bad Boys franchise. It was like, right, because Bad Boys can't tolerate violence of that nature.
No, there's a line. He should not be punished. There, he's already being punished by the Academy Awards of Arts and Sciences, the Academy of Arts and Sciences or whatever. And that's punishment enough. Even though I'm not a fan, I don't like, I despise what he did. But the thing is, that's where he did it. That's where he should be punished, so.
Yeah, I just find it a little odd that, movies that have body counts numbering in the dozens and 75
right?
car wrecks and dispensing as much brass when they're firing automatic weapons left and right. Oh, but we can't have him in it because he slapped somebody.
I know, right? It's always interesting when an action movie star, such as like Liam Neeson, for example, comes out as pro gun control, and I'm like, your entire repertoire. At least 75% of your movies, you're toting guns.
I lit him up. It was like 8 years or so ago. He came out talking about the Second Amendment. Oh, in the United States, it's improper and all these other stuff. It's like, you dumb shit. And I put up just like 10 of his movie posters from the last 15 years. Every single one of them, he had a gun in his hand.
Yeah, I mean.
So it's okay for you, Lime. I
told him to hide his Irish ass back.
I mean, I have a hard enough time with people from other countries lecturing us. It's like, oh, your constitution's improper. It's like, get the fuck out of here. We fought a war to shut you up, so keep it up, please. And meanwhile, there he is. I mean, literally every single movie. I just lined them up 5 in a row, and he's had a pistol in every single one of them.
Yeah, it's really ridiculous.
Although it's kind of funny, I'm, talking about how Will Smith slapping somebody's unacceptable, and currently in the Florida Panther hockey game, they have a professional disagreement. Yeah, all 10 guys. Yep. So that's why, oh my gosh, he slapped somebody. Really?
Okay.
The other day, I was like, my son-in-law was here and said, oh man, there was this fight in a basketball game. And I just looked at him and I leaned my head all the way back and stretched my arms out. And waved my hands around and said, "Was it like that?" And he's like, "Yeah, actually, it was." We're going to have to redefine fight, I think.
Yeah, it needs a bit of a tweak, I suppose.
I mean, in the NHL, if you don't draw blood, you're like saying the freaking zebras got in the way. But at the NBA, that's a fight. And they're probably going to get fined and punished for like 10 games or something like that. In hockey, it's like sit down for 5 minutes and think about what you did. Okay, you can play. You can come back. You've learned your lesson. But hey, speaking of Florida, we had kind of a raucous weekend here in my state.
Did you know?
Yeah, up in St. Augustine, they staged the first ever Florida Man Games. And it was as dysfunctional and glorious as it possibly could be.
I'm sure that it was.
Contests that they had staged were decidedly Floridian with a flair for the news cycle. So, for instance, they had an obstacle course challenge, but it wasn't, skipping through tires in a rope swing. You had to run away from a cop, jump over a fence, cut over picnic tables and lawn chairs and stuff like that, and keep him from catching you. There was a pool noodle mud pit jousting tournament. The one I kind of thought was rather specific was the 2-bicycle tandem ride where you had to race up, grab a catalytic converter, tuck it under your arm, ride a bicycle to another location, then pick up a bunch of copper pipes and get on a second bicycle and then ride to the finish line. This was a timed event.
Sounds like you have to be pretty fit to be in one of these things.
No. I saw the field, and I think they had a weight requirement of 275 or higher.
Oh.
Yeah, and you had to wear tank tops and mullets, that kind of. Have you ever seen the? I'm sure everybody has seen that meme, like whenever there's a storm or something, there's a shirtless guy in the middle of the street holding the American flag.
The American flag as the hurricane is swirling. Yeah.
He was there.
Oh no.
He was. I don't know if he was like the honorary judge or such. They had. I think 2 of the referees were former American gladiators. And
That is amazing.
They had, it wasn't a mechanical bull, but a mechanical alligator for people to ride. And just, all kinds of crafts and games and food and fun. And it sounded like a complete god-awful mess, and I'm ashamed I miss it.
It is a shame that you missed it. You would have had, just reporting man on the street stuff, that would have been epic.
I believe by next year I'm going to find my way to said games.
You totally should. This is a slice of Americana that a lot of people, yes, they make fun of it, but they don't get to visualize it. They really don't. They don't see the behind the scenes stuff. They don't see why people participate. They don't, they just make fun of it like on the fly. And I'm like, people should know about these things. It's like we have around here, one of the tiniest towns here is known for their squash celebration. And I don't mean squash as in the game. I mean the growing of squash. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. And I remember, people would make fun of it and everything. I went last year. It was amazing. It was so much fun. And I had no idea you can make so many things with squash. And I came away with at least 10 recipes. I was very happy. And it's just, and they had all sorts of kitschy stuff, and all the games were squash oriented. And it was a lot of fun. So I think you should do it. I think you should report on this and do man on the street interviews. And just the whole hog. It would be so neat. Oh,
yeah. I'll be trying to make my way there next year for sure. Okay. The thing is, people I don't know if they grasp it. Like the Florida man thing is real. Now, part of it is because there was some kind of it kind of got kicked off. There was some wrinkle. They not declassified, but I don't know. They freed up basically the police blotters across the state for some reason. It was like anything and everything will now be available and get reported. And as a result, people started locating all these bizarre little things taking place across the state on a regular basis, near daily basis. And
Wow.
it's like years ago, somebody explained, it's like, well, you understand the whole reason for this. It's like, okay, but you do understand people still have to do the batshit crazy stuff that's getting reported, right? I mean, it's not as if, they're creating this out of whole hog. I'm like, no, people lose their freaking mind down here on a regular basis.
You guys embrace it because that culture, the Florida culture, it's amazing to me. The joie de vivre that y'all have when you do boneheaded shit. It's awesome.
I mean, I remember it was like you first became aware of it maybe when I was in high school. I don't know. It like started to percolate up a little bit then, and it was like, is this real? What's going on? Is this place going crazy? And then, after a while, you're just like, okay, I guess this is a thing. And then it just became, crazy ass Florida stories are like palm trees around here. You don't notice them until other people point them out. Oh, yeah, of course a guy threw an alligator through the drive-through window. Do you want some? Oh, that's right. That's different. You're not used to that where you come from. Got it. I forget. That's the kind of story that when you start to peel through the Florida story, they always have layers, and it's like, why do you have a gator in the car to begin with? That's how it makes a distinct Florida story. I'm going to bring them with just in case something goes awry with my tater tots.
Yeah,
they screw this order up again. I'm throwing this through the damn window. I tell you what.
I mean, when I was 16 and I visited my godparents, we were on our way to Disney World. They live in Gainesville, and we stayed with them for a few days before traveling down. And that whole area is just known for all of their gators. I mean, they have to close certain streets at certain times of day so gators can actually cross it from one marsh to the other. It just, and I did see people with, throwing food to gators from their decks. And there was a lady that had a very small gator in a pram, the little stroller. Mm-hmm. And it blew my mind. And I didn't, I thought, oh my God, she's totally flipped out. This person is crazy. This person's great. Nowadays you see strollers that are specifically made for your pets. Right.
Right.
But still, even if I were to see somebody in a pet stroller with a gator, I'd do more than just a double take. I'd be doing a Hail Mary quietly.
Every Christmas we do the family trip to Orlando, and one year we're at the hotel, and for some reason one morning some guy shows up with, and it was like a 3-4 foot alligator. Mouth was taped, and he was just, if anybody wants to take a picture or something. And I'm having like my first cup of coffee and breakfast and such, and I was like, oh yeah, no problem. And then everybody else came down, and then some of the family from out of town were like, oh my God, there's a guy walking around with a gator. I was like, yeah, I held it earlier. Like, wait, what? You did what? Oh, right. Yeah. We have alligators here. But you didn't, how did you, they can't wrap their head around that kind of stuff. Like we were at CPAC one year too, where we were, a bunch of us from Red State, I think we were going to the brewery or something. We were walking along, and I think it was a garter snake or something was in the sidewalk or the gutter or something like that. And we're sitting there having a conversation. I just bent down and grabbed it so I could bring it over to the grass. And all of a sudden there was just like shrieks. I was like, what did you do? How could you pick that up? I was like, because I don't want him to get run over, and then I let the thing go. And then I'm trying to continue the conversation. That's all they could talk about for 10 minutes. Oh my God, Brad, grab the snake. Do you not have snakes where you come from? What?
I mean, you know me. I will wrangle snakes. I've gone to the rattlesnake roundup. That's fun.
Well,
I've
actually,
never
I think
participated, but I have.
you were.
attended.
I think you were busy doing something that night. I was going to keep it for you, but I think
Oh,
you were elsewhere.
you're
So
so sweet. Thank you. You were so thoughtful.
brought
It's a
back to the
thought that
condo.
counts.
Hey, Aggie's
Oh, I
back.
remember. No, I remember that story, and I'm like, why? I asked you, why didn't you bring it?
There's something for you in the bathtub, by the way. So go check it out. I just life down here is different, and sometimes I forget that.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it is and always is, but it's
Florida's the Australia of the U.S. That's the way I look at it.
It's I don't want to say I don't appreciate it, but sometimes I forget the uniqueness of our bizarre ass natives, I guess.
Look, I mean, the stories of iguanas falling from the trees. It's embrace it. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's like a few years ago. We dropped into 30s, and I don't know, I think Gage was probably 6 at the time. And I told him about it. He's like, wait, really? He's like, yeah, come on, let's gear up. So we're literally in the bedroom. We're putting on our gloves and the flashlights and the hats, and his mom's and he's like, what are you guys doing? And he like couldn't have been, we're going to go find iguanas falling out of the trees. And her mom like freaked out. She's like, no, you're not. You are not taking them out. I was like, I am. Yeah. Yes, I am. And yes, we did. And all we found was one cube in a knoll. But now, there's been years there used to be a park on my route that I was on. I would go to for lunch and stuff. And one year I walked, it was probably, I don't know, a half-acre lake or something like that, and walked the lake and probably saw 24 of those sumbitches on the ground everywhere. It's a thing. It's hilarious.
Indeed.
They're tough to catch. They're actually fast, believe it or not. You have to like really sneak up on one and get the jump on it to grab its tail and get a hold of it. But yeah, they have a burst about them, and then they can swim. So it's kind of funny.
Well, you are at no loss for entertainment in your beloved state. I will say that.
Absolutely.
I mean, hell, I have a rogue llama or alpaca, rather, roaming around this area.
All right, there you go. See?
I'm waiting for the camel, though. If that sucker enters my property, it's mine. I'm just saying. I wasn't going to keep the cows, but I'll keep the camel.
Now, we had, I lived in an unincorporated area. My next door neighbor had a couple of emu, but they weren't in like a paddock or anything like that. They would just walk around his yard.
Emu, you can actually train to stay in a certain area. You can train those, and they'll stay. They'll stick around, especially where they know where the food is at and everything.
No, they weren't trained, but they were hilarious. Every so often, he's like, hey, Brad, you want an egg? And I was like, sure. And he would throw it over to me, and it was bigger than that softball, emerald green. It was hilarious.
I'm so jealous. I helped out at the Y&R Ranch out in Texas in the hill country outside of Kerrville one summer with a friend of mine who we both attended A&M. And I got to keep one of the ostrich eggs that were, they had rotoed a hole underneath, and everything. So I got to keep one of those. I had that egg for decades. I kid you not, because I was out there in, the summer of '88. It broke 3 months ago.
Ooh.
I dropped it. I was in tears. You have no idea how much I was crying over that. And of course, everybody in the family was like, it's just an egg. Just buy another one. I'm like, you don't understand. This was my egg.
It meant something.
From taking care of those assholes. This was like a rite of passage. Yeah, because ostriches are not nice. These were pretty tame. The ones out there in the Y&R Ranch, they were pretty tame, but they were still assholes. But anyway.
And the emus were pretty cool, actually, because
emus are more chill. They're definitely more chill. And let's just
Like I went over to his house one time to like help him clean his pool area, the screening and stuff. So we had the, pressure hoses and just getting spider web down and stuff like that. And these things would come, they would walk up and like right in your personal space. And I'm looking at him, I was like, Wayne, what do I do here? He's like, just shove them, get them out of the way. But it's like I got this loud pressure gun going off, and the thing just like walks up and is like, hey, what are you doing? What's going on here? What's happening? And I was like, can I have a little room, please? I just watch him come up, and he's just like two hands on me. He's like, Buster, shove it over, would you? It's just hilarious. I'm like, okay, got it.
Well, talk about laying eggs. I did hear that Tay and Che had a little run-in, or interview, so to speak.
OMG. I still don't know the full story behind this, actually. Like, I don't know how this came about, because I don't know that I can say they've had a contentious relationship, but
I want to say that they absolutely despise each other.
Could be.
And,
could be.
And the thing is, I think that Tay considers Che a mark, a trophy, so to speak. If she can bring Chaya Raichik down, then she will have, the greatest of all headhunter trophies.
Oh, please.
Oh, this is in the mind. I'm pretty sure this is the mind of Taylor Lawrence.
Well,
now,
that's something you can't ascertain.
On
Just in case
Chaya's
anybody
side,
doesn't know, the Taylor Lorenz and Chaya Raichik actually had a sit-down interview and videotape that they're out on a patio of some bar or restaurant, and
yeah,
it was, I guess, a civil conversation, but at the same time, there was this undercurrent of bitch.
Oh yeah, totally. And it was, the undercurrent was from Chaya's side. The overcurrent was from Tay-Tay's side.
Yeah. Well,
and you could tell, and it was, Taylor was like constantly poking, trying to get those bamboo shoots under Chaya's fingernails. I mean, she was like really going, and Chaya was like, why am I even here? I cannot stand this woman. I don't know what I'm doing.
The thing is, I saw was Taylor Lorenz actually operates from this position of, it's not even superiority, but it's just like, I'm right. This is just the way it is. And you're like stupid for not agreeing. Like, she just has this attitude of, I don't know. It's like, I can't get the word. It's not the superiority, or there is some condescension, but it's just like she's so flat out assured her viewpoints are the viewpoints, and anything deviant of that is wrong.
Yes,
there's no room for opinion or anything else. So she approaches everything from that. And when she's throwing questions at Chaya Raichik, she's not ready to dodge or parry or to explore any nuances to it. It's just like, well, every time you post one of your things, then like bomb threats happen, so that's your fault.
Yeah. Oh, Al calls it arrogance.
Sure.
Yep. She's totally.
But the thing is, she's not at that elevated position to deliver on this stuff. It's just,
honestly, I do honestly think that she is so egocentric that there is no room for anybody else's opinions, and her opinions don't exist. They're facts.
Yeah, she seems to be like somebody that's on the flag corps in high school.
Oh yes,
and then is going to, and will walk into the debate squad and think she's going to win without even studying. But it's not like that. That's not right. Okay, so you're wrong, and I win. That kind of attitude.
It's kind of like remember in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Triomphe Napoleon. They told him that I don't think that's going to work. No, whack. Okay, that's it. That's exactly the pigeon on the chessboard. That's what it is.
Because she came, all right, so maybe as a little bit of a preamble, a week before on Libs of TikTok, Chaya Raichik put posting from the DM she got from Taylor Lorenz about an article. They're going to do an article about Libs of TikTok and all the bad things that happen. Now, always the case. The article is already written. It's basically done, and then just by rote, they reach out to the individual who the article's about as the very last step. It's like, so we're writing this. Do you have anything to say? But she wrote about 5 paragraphs. Okay, our article is going to say that every time you post something, then these bomb threats go off. And then in Oklahoma, you were doing stuff with like the books. Yeah. And then this student got beat up and then, yeah, and they died. And like, that's your fault. So we're like writing that. And then all the other things you do aren't really good. And I'm going to put that in the article too. So do you have a comment? It was literally that kind of presentation. I think Shia said something like, I'm sorry, I can't understand you with your mask on. But this is Taylor Lorenz. This is the way she approaches everything, is with that arrogance of just, you did this. So they're having a conversation, and Shia Reichik says, well, every time you write one of these articles about me, I get death threats. So how do you respond to that? How do you feel about that? She's like, well, okay, like those are bad. So yeah, I don't like that, but it's like totally different. And then she's like, well, how's it different? Because I'm getting actual death threats. And you just said death threats and bomb threats. Yeah, but you're getting death threats, but they're not bomb threats. So those
Totally
aren't
different.
bad.
Yeah.
Like, wait, huh? Oh, and also we're in the media, so it doesn't count.
Yeah. I'm
But
like,
then
the
at the
media
same
gets a pass
time,
for doing threats.
but after saying that, she later says, okay, but see, I'm like part of the media, so I can do these things, but you're not. And so you're picking on innocent people and making them like die from bomb threats.
Yeah, and the threats that Chaya had absolutely, totally, no, that doesn't count.
She said, well, they're only death threats or not bomb threats. And plus, I'm a journalist, so if I write it and a bomb threat happens, then it doesn't count. Because I'm a journalist. And you're not. So it's not bad. See. this is,
but and it amazes me because all that Reichik does is literally post what liberals post. She adds absolutely no comment except to post the TikTok. That's how it started. That's all she did, was basically shine a light into this madness. And they complain that that's hate. And I'm like, but the videos are out there. Why are you complaining when the videos are out there?
But that's the thing, is they pretend she's the only one that generates this response. Like nobody else generates bomb threats. Nobody else. Like last year, Target stores were getting bomb threats because of their trans clothing. And here's the kicker. When they moved the trans clothing to the back of the store, they were getting bomb threats from people in the trans community because they said, oh, you knuckled under. Nobody in the press was bothered by that, though. Well, that's like different. So, yeah. It's insanity that they do this stuff. I think just in this year, in the last 2 months, NBC has put out at least 2, if not 3 articles directly blaming Libs of TikTok for this. And now the Washington Post did theirs, and a number of others have come out as well. Like, it's a full-scale media move. Like, every time you do this, it's like, okay, but they already put it out on social media. She's just repeating it. Oh, well, she makes comments, too, and that's not good. So, a hospital says, no, we're not doing sex change operations for 12-year-olds. And then Shia Reichik calls the hospital up and says, hey, I got a 12-year-old. Will you give him a sex change operation? Sure. She'll put that online. It's her fault, not the hospital's fault.
It's super ridiculous. And frankly, I know somebody that is just like Taylor Lawrence. They rely on destroying everything around them to save their own concept of reality. And that every time I see what she writes, I see how she acts, the things that she says, online and everything. I'm reminded of this person, and I'm like, this is not healthy. She's a sociopath with extreme psychopathic tendencies.
She's had these instances. Like, I think it was back when she was at the New York Times, like she was going after some teenage influencers.
Mm-hmm.
Just like random, like, I decided I don't like them. So I'm going to like expose stuff. And there were like these two teenage girls that had built up a great following and were making a bunch of money and doing great with their account. And then she found out like, oh, their parents are Republican or something. And, like basically doxed them, completely ruined what they were doing. Her account is gone, everything else. And she just like, well, they had it coming. It wasn't my fault. That kind of horseshit. It's like, why are you going after teenagers on TikTok? You're a grown adult. And just, she creates stories because she can't go out and actually find them, I guess is what it is. So she's like, forever online, I think is her catchphrase from her book and all that. Well, yeah, but you're 36 and hanging out on TikTok where teenagers are doing stuff. That's your beat? Wow. Journalism. It just, I would say go and watch this video, but maybe try to get a transcript because both of them, they speak with that vocal fry. It's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, Chaya is kind of the same way where she's like, okay, but I get, I get these calls and they come up and they say, give me the same thing. So what do you have to say about that? Cheerleader debate. Cool. But no, I think it was great because it exposes Lorenz for just the shout. She's like literally on a track. If you anything that's not on that track, she is lost. She can't handle it. She doesn't think on the fly. She's not nuanced in her thinking at all. So for her to be this high-flying journalist from the Washington Post.
And, I'm all for her keeping that mask on. I am. It's not that she's an ugly person. She's wearing a mask. She's pretty. Don't get me wrong. It's nothing about her looks. It's about the effects. So I want her to keep it on for a very long time.
That's the other thing too. She's around the bend when it comes to COVID. Like she acts worse now than during the height of COVID deaths. I mean, she's pretending if she goes out and someone touches her, she's going to die.
Yeah, I think it has a certain value for her because for her, she needs it to be true. Because to admit that it wasn't true is to admit that she was wrong. She can't do it. She cannot be wrong.
She's quadrupled down at this point. But I mean, what was it? In December, she claimed, this is the 4th year I can't go see my family because of COVID and you people who don't wear masks. And then I've got 4 photographs of her at various influencer events and award ceremonies and stuff. Shoulder to shoulder with people indoors, no mask on, smiling, beaming for the camera. It's like, so let me get this right. You can't see your family, but you can hang out on a couch with Dylan Mulvaney without a mask. Which I'm sorry. I would need full body bubble wrap if I'm sitting next to that one. Personally.
Yeah, it was. I remember seeing that, and I'm like, wait. I thought we were still masking, or she was saying that masks are still necessary. Why is nobody here masked? And everybody was saying, we've all gotten our boosters. We've all gotten this. We've gotten that. We've gotten all this other stuff. And I'm like, but you guys were the ones that were telling us we still need to keep masking and still keep separate and still keep this and still keep that. So why is this different? Because that's just for the little people, Brad.
Yeah, well. Since I'm not little, it doesn't apply to me.
Well, that's true, Mr. Gigantor.
I've always said since 2020, when it comes to the pandemic, I'm just going to choose not to participate.
I'm at that point. And I'm like, now that we have bubonic plague showing up in Oregon. I'm like, okay, once it starts making its way across, okay, fine. I would take precautions. That's fine. We learned a lot about the bubonic plague, so there's that. But I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna. What disgusts me is that Pfizer is still running all of these ads about the saviors that they are. It really pisses me off every time I see one.
Well, what was that story that came out a couple weeks ago? That U.S. scientists are working with China to develop a new strain of bird flu.
Oh, yes.
Fan-freaking-tastic, guys. Yes, go just file that away. And you party of science who can't learn their lesson. That's fantastic work. But what are you going to do? This is what we got to deal with. Well, you're kind of connected and affiliated with the military, aren't you?
I am.
I got a severe question about the flammability of the military uniforms. What the hell's going on there?
It's really funny you should say that. They are slightly flame retardant, yes. They have.
You can't say the R word.
They are coated in a special formulation of DEET that prevents, mosquitoes and all that stuff. So it's good for 7 washings, and they recommend that you wash your uniform once a week. So this never happens, by the way.
Wow.
Never happens. Because the same tag tells you not to starch those ACUs, and guess what? Everybody starches them, which negates the DEET, negates the flame retardation, all of that. So, yeah, it's not very high. It's not very high. So, and
we got this soldier that has literally.
Excuse me. No, he was not a soldier. He was an airman. He was from the U.S. Air Force. You did ask if I knew.
Sorry about that. Thought it was only the jarheads that got that kind of testy about stuff. He's a ranger. He's no Marine. It's like, all right, dude.
Did I just get called?
I'm on your side. So yeah, this airman decided to set himself on fire in front of what was it? The embassy, right?
Yes, the Israeli embassy in D.C.
to protest our involvement in the Israeli-Gaza war, with which the United States is not participating.
He recorded all of this.
I've got questions.
There are many questions. Lots.
If the U.S. military is not involved, why are you taking things why are you even protesting? Step one, but taking it to this level. I'm going to kill myself to bring it into this. It's like, well, no, you're not. I mean, step one, maybe, yeah, you're going to kill yourself, but you're going to accomplish nothing here, champ.
No, a lot of people have actually expressed concern that he was mentally ill, had mental health issues. And that is being in the military, being on the front line of, in a deployed area during a combat mission or anything, that does take a toll on somebody's psyche. But he was not this. And he was not on the front lines of any war or deployed or anything like that. As a matter of fact, he was in intelligence. And, everybody kept saying that. And we talked about this. I kept trying to feel pity for this guy, but something just nagged at me. I could not place it. And I finally figured out that wasn't mental illness. That was a commitment to a cause, which is completely different than a mental illness. Mentally ill people who decide to commit suicide do it in the least painful way or the quickest way. And, that's actually for anybody that's willing to do away with their lives in such a manner. Most of them, if not, I mean, I'm talking 99.9% of them will actually opt for the quickest or the most painless way. Nobody chooses self-immolation. And the fact that this guy did is troubling on several levels. This is a guy who was so committed to left-wing causes that he was part of several groups that had really radical ties. And something that I have noticed is that, a lot of people say, oh, he's a right-wing extremist. And most of the time, they won't operate in a cell. They will be lone. They will be by themselves. Maybe one or two together will do something. But never in a group of hundreds. And that's the difference between right radicalization and left radicalization, in my opinion. In this case, the left radicalization is something that is insidious in the military, and it has been going on for several decades. And this is what happened with this guy is, that should really alarm a lot of people, that there are these people that are so committed to this cause instead of being committed to what the military espouses, instead of being committed to defending our country.
Ago. We had that guy that he graduated from the Army Academy.
Oh, yeah. The little communist Creighton. Yeah.
Yeah. He had written inside of his hat, "Go commies," or something like that.
Yeah. It was, proud to be a communist or whatever, or whatever it was. And he lost his lot. He was discharged from the Army because of that. But, we all remember Nidal Hasan. This wasn't that long ago, but a lot of people have forgotten. And there's a backstory to Nidal Hasan that a lot of people don't know, because he was part of the Army Medical Corps as opposed to, what I call the real Army. I can say that. But he was at Walter Reed for a time, and he was such an issue. Several people saw the red flags and tried to do something about them. And I know several people that tried, and they got punished for it because Hassan was a Muslim. He was a protected class. They could not touch him. And so people that I knew that raised the red flags and said, we need to take this guy out of this area. We need to remove him from the Army. This guy is dangerous, blah, 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 blah. They got written up. And I was like, what do you mean you're getting written up? And they were like,
hello, something.
They were being instigated for hate crimes for doing this. So what happens to Nidal Hasan? Nidal decides that he is starting to show cracks. Walter Reed, being Walter Reed, which is incestuous as far as I'm concerned, decides, hey, let's send him to Fort Hood. Nobody lives there, which is totally wrong. Fort Hood was, and now it's Fort Cavazos. I understand that, but back then it was Fort Hood. Fort Hood was home to, thousands and thousands of infantry troops at the time. Yes, it's in the middle of nowhere in Texas, but it's a huge military installation. And he gets sent there. And sure enough, people start complaining. This guy is wacko. This guy does not want to, and he was, I think, a psychiatrist or something. And he wasn't doing his job. He was instead pushing for this jihad. He was literally saying these things out loud. And people brought it to the attention of command. Command said, our hands are tied. And what happens? He kills 14 people. And finally somebody, and I was amazed that so many people said, how was nobody armed? Because military bases and forts and posts are all gun-free zones. When you own a gun and you live on base, you have to lock it up in the armory.
In Texas.
In Texas, this is actually every army
People strapping when they go to
military
Whataburger, but the military can't have guns.
Yeah, they can't. They can't.
I've had family come back from Texas like gobsmacked. They're like, we were in there, and these people had guns on their hips. Like, did the guns do something? Did they jump off the hip and attack people? What? Shut up! It was like,
I was in line, and there were two gentlemen in front of me. This was, I don't know. I want to say it was Chili. No. It was Wendy's. It was Wendy's over in Tyler, and one of the gentlemen was like, "Oh, I like your piece," and I'm like, "Wait, what?" And I turn, around, and they're talking about their guns. So they start comparing each other's guns right there in Wendy's. It was glorious. Right? But it's, he ends up killing over a dozen people. And he finally gets taken out by one of the people who happens to be armed, because he is a police officer, and is, has the UCMJ, has the trial, blah, 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 sentenced to death. Great. Awesome. He still killed all those people. There were so many red flags. You could have, I swear to God, it was China. It was that bad. Everyone knew, and no one could do anything about it. And this is the problem that the military has now. There are so many, and so many with red flags, but you can't do anything about it because of the PC and woke shit that's going on.
Well, that's the problem. Is they're inviting the problem in through the front door, and the people that are already there can't complain about what's coming in. Otherwise, they get kicked out. And so people are just checking out entirely. They're saying, well, I'm gone. And then other people are looking at this saying, well, why am I signing up for that nonsense?
Exactly.
Recruitment
right now,
there's plummeted.
Yeah, they cut recruitment by 24,000. Well, if you cut recruitment, you'll meet your goal. But that's indicative of the rot that's going on there. And you saw the the percentages of white men and women going into the military from just 10 years ago compared to now, and how it has plummeted by 50%. The Black, the Hispanic, Asian has upticked a little bit, which is concerning. And because, believe it or not, we do have Chinese nationals in our military. We have Hispanic nationals from Mexico, from Peru, from different countries in our military. So, and a lot of people don't know that, because that's a way for, you serve so that you can facilitate your citizenship status in the U.S. But I'm willing to wager that a lot of them don't want the citizenship status. They just want in. And that should be a major concern. But it's not. They just, oh, you're being bigoted. I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. I'm being bigoted. I'm actually calling out my own people. But that's okay. I'm bigoted. And it never ceases to amaze me. I mean, they had a stand down on looking for extremists just 2 days ago.
Yes.
Just 2 days ago. And I'm like, you have
anybody.
got to be shitting me. And that is an order that should be in effect at all times, regardless. Because you never know. Did nobody watch No Way Out? I mean, admittedly, that's like I love that movie. And not just because Kevin's in it. But, I mean, it's just, and Sean Young.
I've never trusted him since.
But that was, they were all talking, it was like, oh, Yuri did it. And this, he's a captain in the Navy and all this stuff and blah, 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 or whatever. And, or I forgot what his rank was. And it turns out he was Yuri. But Yuri didn't do this. It was the aide to the senator who did it. But, it turned out that we did have Yuri. And that was such a great plot twist in the movie. That was so great. But that's what's, going on right now. If you guys know Mark Sidley on Twitter, he wrote a fantastic book called New Moon, and y'all should read it, because I really do think that's exactly what's happening in the military right now. For those not familiar with the concept, New Moon was a concept that the Mongols used. And what would happen was, 2 or 3 of the Mongols would actually infiltrate a town, and they would be there and they would become friends with people who were there. They would get jobs. They would, they become blacksmiths. They would tend the farms. They would do, for like 6 months until they had learned everything they could about that culture. And then in one night, the Mongols would arrive and completely obliterate the place because they knew where to hit. So that concept, I think, is going on in our military. We have been infiltrated. Now, I'm not saying we've been infiltrated by outside people from other countries, although I'm pretty sure we have. I'm talking about people that have been radicalized and entered into the military. That has happened. This guy was one of them. Because I saw all of his social media before he went in to the military and when he went into the military and all that stuff. And he's from San Antonio. And so,
there's trouble right there.
Y'all have no idea. And so this guy, I can tell you right now, it wasn't mental illness. He may have had stress. He may have had some issues with reality. But then again, a lot of people do, and they don't break like this. This was a commitment. This was something that he martyred himself for. And that's how the left is treating him. They're not bemoaning the fact that this guy took this way out. They're celebrating him.
Oh yeah, and the media is
right
on board. Media's on board with it.
Yeah, that is
they're
the
saying
biggest.
Don't call him depressed because that minimizes it, and they want him to be a martyr. They want to applaud him for what he's doing. They need him to be one,
and that's exactly what he did. He was a martyr to the end. He left a record. He videoed the whole thing to make sure that people knew where he stood. This was not mental illness.
Well, the amusement too, though, is he's doing this. Everybody's, they're all going to remember him. And then the people on the left started getting angry because people were saying rest in power. You can't say that. That's a black phrase. And so that became the focus of this guy killing himself, whether or not you were being racist. So the leftists start fighting with each other.
Yeah, they turned on each other. It was beautiful, actually. I was like, that's impressive. I can't believe that you guys are backbiting each other over semantics. Like the guy is dead. Yeah, and nobody is looking for the cause. Obviously we know the cause, fire, but nobody is looking as to the radicalization and where it came from. Because he was radicalized.
Well, clearly. But I just, not that I'm laughing at his death, but I'm laughing at his cause going completely sideways because they're sitting there complaining about the phrase use in memoriam was not proper. Only black people can use that. Which I'm baffled by. I'm cracking up.
I don't.
Way to keep your eye on the prize there, people.
But it is important to the media that he stay a martyr. It's important to the left that he stay a martyr. It's important to everybody that's trying to free Palestine. I don't know why, because Palestine is hostage to Hamas, not to Israel. So it's just, and I see friends from, over on the Book of Faces talking about how brave he was to do this. No, he was stupid. Mm-hmm. He was not brave. Being brave is you lay down your arms for our country, you take off the uniform, you go over there and you fight for the people that you feel are oppressed. That's bravery. I don't care if it's right or wrong. That's how you're brave. Setting yourself on fire? No. And I don't know. I don't know if there'll be an autopsy done, to determine whether or not he was hopped on drugs or not. But he may have had
Oh, I thought you meant like well done or medium rare.
No. He may
But the
have
thing is,
had
too, when the
some
people are doing
painkillers.
this, when they're saying, "Oh, he's so brave to do this," well, you're basically saying you're a coward then,
Yeah, this is not
because you're applauding him for your
courage.
cause, and you're
Yeah.
saying basically cheering him on to kill himself for the
I've
thing
seen
that
a
you
few
want.
people saying this is, I've seen a few people on the left, very few people, but a few on the left saying this is not the way. This is not a way. This, you just wasted your life, and it's tragic and it's
What was
horrifying.
accomplished? That's the entirety.
Nothing.
Like, I'm going to do this to
Nothing.
affect change. You're taking yourself out of the equation. Okay, you're not taking action. You're not
You've taken
affecting
yourself,
any change. You're not doing
but,
anything active. You're removing yourself, and that
but
doesn't
look
do
at
a
those
damn
who
thing.
die for jihad. Look at those over in the Middle East that are raised to become suicide bombers. That is the same mentality this young man had.
Well, it is, except they at least have, and there's no way am I condoning this, but they are looking at it from, well, if I take out 15 infidels and kill myself in the process, that's a net win for our cause. That's, I can understand a little bit that kind of thinking, but standing in front of an embassy, lighting yourself on fire and killing yourself doesn't move a needle in any capacity.
It only moves the journalistic needle, and it incentivizes people to further their radicalization and do it in the name of that person who gave his life for the cause. And that's why I keep saying, if I have a lot of relatives that are in the military, and I have some of them that are about to hit retirement age, and they just can't wait. They cannot wait. I know 2 of them that are putting it off as long as possible to see who wins this election, because they don't want Biden's name on their paperwork. so there's that. But there's a big concern, because instead of being taught how to defend the country, they're being taught how to observe somebody's pronouns. They're being taught how to observe somebody's, views, political views, which should not be a thing in the military whatsoever. Okay? Political views in the military should be non-existent. You should be apolitical when you're in the military. Just like you should be asexual. And it's funny because, y'all know I was married to a man who was in the military for over 30 years, and I couldn't hold his hand when he was in uniform. I could not hug him. I couldn't give him a kiss. Nothing. We can't not do that. But the gay people can. They're given a pass completely. And
really?
we have to.
I wasn't aware of that.
We have to observe their, lifestyle choice. You now have gay Marines in pride parades. They've been given the go-ahead to do this in support of their lifestyle. It was not a done thing. It goes against military code of conduct. But they get a pass. It is amazing how insidious this has become. And it's not just the LGBTQIA plus whatever agenda. It's also political agendas. I walked into areas of, military hospitals that had Barack Obama things all over the place, but the people that were in support of Mitt Romney could not put theirs up. People would complain about it. And it was okay to do Barack, but it was not okay to do Mitt. That is how bad this has become. And I'm telling you, this act,
but that's, yeah.
It should open eyes, but if anything, it's closing them even tighter, because they want to believe. They want to believe that it's okay, that they're doing the right thing, and that this is just a one-off. No, this is not a one-off. This is the first of. There's more coming. I'm sure of it.
I
know it's a gloom and doom for Aggie here, but
no, it's
I'm like,
this kind of thing it just runs in my head right up against my pragmatism and common sense.
yeah,
It's
see,
this,
Rex agreed. Public displays of affection were not allowed. And heterosexuals
yeah.
are still not allowed. But gays are.
But that's what I mean is like, how do you have these double standards? How is it that you alter the
Because
longstanding common sense standard in the military because this new group of people come in and we have to cater to them?
it all began with Don't Ask, Don't Tell, which was very clumsy, but I kind of agreed with the premise, and it was fine. Then with the Defense of Marriage Act and all that, and Barack Obama with the, allowing of the gays in the military, that, all that stuff. And it really did happen starting in 2009. We started seeing all of the changes, and they were gradual, but they were very much in your face. And I mean, as witnessed with every single branch, Pride Month, all of the branches are celebrating Pride Month. And I'm like, you should not be celebrating Pride Month.
No.
You should be celebrating Flag Day, which is in June. You should be celebrating that kind of stuff, but not Pride Month. I mean, I almost puked last year when I saw the Marines with their helmet and they had all the different colors on it. And I'm like, this is insane.
Yeah, they had that other one, the dog face.
Oh God,
fetish
please!
guy.
I had. Oh God.
Oops, sorry.
That image is awful. The dog pound or whatever it was called, that guy is like, I'm finally retiring and I can post this now. No, he wasn't supposed to post that.
I can finally come out as my true self.
And I'm you have your own private life. Keep it the fuck private. That's fine. I don't care. But for you to be showing it in your face, it's ridiculous.
That's what I've been saying for a while. Like, what was it, a week or two ago when Rolling Stone had Kristen Stewart on the cover and she's feeling herself up in a jockstrap and I'm going to come out as gay and I'm going to be so gay and I'm going to be just like capital G-A-Y gay. And then, at the same time, if you make a comment, why are you so obsessed with my private life?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
how about keeping it in your pants for one thing? Two,
now I know I have
stop
friends
telling me about your private life, and maybe I won't care.
I will tell you this: I have friends, a couple of which are gay, and let me tell you, those suckers are all about war, all about defense of country. They keep their shit to themselves. As a matter of fact, one of them just retired 2 years ago, and there were people that worked with him that had no clue he was gay. None. Absolutely none. Because he respected the fact that he was there as a member of the military. He had no agenda except to be a soldier. And he was a damn good one. As a matter of fact, he now owns a gun range and teaches people to shoot because he was so good at it. So
but back in the day, you could go to a soldier and say, hey, I'm going over here. You got my 6? Now that's sexual harassment.
Now that's sexual harassment. Yeah, you have, and you're constantly being bombarded by PowerPoints on sexual harassment. And I'm like, somebody complimented somebody's skirt. Oh, now we have to go do sexual harassment training.
You can no longer say you have somebody's back because that could be misconstrued as a sexual come on.
Yeah. So anyway, we slightly deviated from our topic, but.
Which never happens on this show.
Never. But going back to the original topic, Danielle brings up a good point. She is worried that we will lose a war if we're attacked. Well, I have news for you, Danielle. The last war we actually won was World War II. That was the last one. The Korean conflict is still going on. Vietnam, we left. And we let it fall. I don't really count Desert Storm, because that was just kind of like to keep what's his name contained and kick him out of Kuwait, which was okay, but that wasn't really a war. Grenada was not a war, in my opinion. And these past 20 years that we've been involved in those conflicts, Obama left. He said the war is ended. He did not declare victory. He didn't say we won. He definitely said it was ended. There was no winning. And look what happened in Afghanistan with this administration. So if we
look
do
at the
go
damn
to war,
military these days, I don't even think we could win the cupcake wars.
no, we couldn't. Nope, we could not win cupcake wars, and that's that.
Well,
Actually,
I want to move to a subject that you had sent to me that I happened to miss, largely because it was from Vox, and I don't try to read them unless I absolutely have to. But I wasn't aware that this was even a damn thing.
I was not either. I really had no clue.
But this also amuses me because I'm being told what I think and what I believe by Vox about something I've never heard of. Apparently it's like a thing that conservative men are using nicotine pouches in their jaw to boost their testosterone and manhood. What the hell are you even doing? What?
I don't know. I read that article and I'm like, how is this? Why the extrapolation? I mean, just ridiculous.
Anytime I read Vox, I almost feel like a college professor saying, "This is why I have teaching assistants, so they read this bullshit. I don't have to." You know? And it's just, Vox is just so far, their head is so far up their own ass. I don't know how they can type, because let me explain to you this topic. That's basically their approach to everything. It's like, okay, you're a 23-year-old working in somebody's basement. The hell are you telling me about life? But I can sum up Vox News, and it's Vox with a V, by the way, in this fashion. A couple of years ago in California, had on the referendum for, they basically wanted to unionize the Uber drivers. Mm-hmm. And so they wrote the law in a fashion that anybody that's a freelance worker would be limited in how they do their job. Vox was 100% on board with this. Absolutely, do it. Yes, this is so great for the workers and the fair wages and living money payments and all this crap. The law passed, and Vox instantly laid off hundreds of writers because of it. Like the day it passed, done. You guys are gone. We can't have you anymore. Because there's a limit on how many freelancers you can have, how many pieces each freelancer is allowed to write, things of this nature. That's Vox News for you, okay? Now they're trying to explain that conservatives are obsessed with nicotine pouches in their mouth and working out because that's a sign of white supremacy. The same media that always preaches health and all, you got to exercise and we're such a fat country and diabetes and obesity and workout. And it's okay, I'm going to go work out. Well, you can't do it. You're a Nazi.
Only for guys. For women, it's body positivity. You're beautiful no matter how big you are, blah, 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 blah. Men though. Men get excoriated. So yeah.
But it was a couple paragraphs into this piece of crap article that all of a sudden the clarion red light goes off. Tucker Carlson has boasted how he puts one of these packs in his jawline in the morning and doesn't remove it until he goes to bed at night. Oh, Tucker Carlson, there you go. They hate him so much. And he represents the avatar of every single person that's even a millimeter to the right of center.
I thought it was funny that she threw Joe Rogan in there too, because
of course
he's nowhere near being conservative, but she identifies him as conservative because he has certain tendencies that are not liberal.
Well, yeah, if he's not 100%, then of course, he's one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you never heard of a libertarian before?
Mm.
I'm just curious. Has that ever? No? Okay. Independent thinker, non-political thinker? No, nope. Black or white, that's all there is. But yeah, so, and again, this is what I'm being told, this is what I do because I'm a conservative guy. So like I wake up in the morning and I put a tobacco pack in my jaw and and then I go out and I act assertively male or something like this. What are you doing? This is like such a strained attempt at coming up with a story. Just, there's this thing out there and I'm going to explore it and I'm going to make it a thing. This is going to be a trend. This is going to be hot. Every Republican does this. Wait a second. No, I don't know anybody that does this. How is everybody that agrees with me doing it but me? That's how does that work? It's pretty much like QAnon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All I've ever heard about QAnon was from the media. As they're telling me, every single person on the right follows QAnon to a T, including everybody in Congress, every Republican, and anybody that's in right-wing media. I literally have never had a conversation about QAnon outside of talking about the media talking about QAnon. Because if anybody ever came out to me and said, hey, did you hear what QAnon said? No, and I have to go stand over there with other people now.
I still try to. I don't get it. The QAnon thing. You're right. I have never heard anybody outside of the media talking about QAnon.
No, it's their windmill. They need it. It has to exist so then they can. It's like a shorthand for anything that they disapprove of on the right. So, well, that's a known QAnon theory. Known by who? I mean, besides people in your newsroom, who follows this or talks about this? But that's the thing. It's so. This was the thing that cracked me up. They called this hustle culture. So this is a complete thing. Hustle culture and bodybuilding are shaping young men's drift to the right. Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're going to 24-hour fitness and we're recruiting anybody that's working out. Hey, nice pecs. Want to vote Republican? What do you say we come over here and sign some papers? Let's get you signed up. What do you think there, beefcake? Come on.
And I just the whole naming of it masculinity, and I'm like, because they have to sneak the name of Zin in there, and I'm like, why? You're trying to make yourself cool. It's like stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
Well, that's the thing is they coined this phrase themselves at Vox in order to label everybody as if they're using that phrase.
And the thing is, they make it sound like, it's like, they actually have to explain this is nicotine salt. So you're getting the nicotine high without the cancer-causing agents, I suppose, the tobacco, stuff. And so they have to explain that. And I'm like, so hold up. I thought we were against smoking, we as in Vox. This is a way to actually derive the nicotine without putting forth any vapor, putting forth any smoke. There's no scent involved or anything. Why are you bitching about it? I thought this was a good thing. I'm not a nicotine person, but still.
Because the larger promise of the male self-improvement through stimulant supplements or organ meats and the advice of supposedly successful internet entrepreneurs is a powerful one, Aggie. powerful enough to have emerged as conservatives appeal to men in an election year. White men, here we go. White men are losing ground to women and people of color in America. Wasn't aware of that taking place outside of the military. A host of right-wing influencers claim, but they can gain it back with exercising, eating, buying, working, and voting the right way. Dun, dun, dun. I mean, holy crap. You could not find anything else to write about, could you? This is sheer desperation. Love it. Well, wow, we're grinding up against the clock. Didn't even realize it.
Oh, God, I can't believe you said that.
Yeah, we got to. Hey, phrasing, come on.
God, okay.
Over in Seattle, they are 4 comedians were going to be putting on a show, right?
Yeah. They,
1 ticket, 4 comedians, 1 night only, 2 drink minimum. Come see us over at the Chuckle Hut or whatever the hell they call this place. There was a community uprising, allegedly.
Seriously?
Protesting the appearance of these, and I hadn't heard of any of these guys, by the way.
No, I'm not familiar.
So I'm not sure how their particular material got out, but the people of the community were worried that the comedy sketches from these individuals didn't represent their community. Therefore, they protested to the club. The club owners carefully weighed all the considerations and concerns of their citizens because they want to be considered good stewards of the community. And as a result, canceled all 4 of these comedians. What the hell?
There is absolutely no comedy allowed in Seattle. Those people have no sense of humor. None.
I'm sorry. What happened to the option of not going?
Yeah, what I think is so funny that, this place, is told that, they value the art of comedy, and the diverse perspective it brings and all that stuff. And I'm like, but you're literally canceling 4 people because you don't like the way they do their comedy. I can see why Larry, the Cable Guy, doesn't go to Seattle anymore. I don't think Jeff Dunham does either. Ron White wrote off Seattle a long time ago. So I mean,
I'm pretty sure Jerry Seinfeld has, because Seinfeld has come out repeatedly and said, what the hell's going on college campuses is damn ridiculous. You can't be a comedian anymore.
No, you can't. You cannot be a comedian anymore. And it's really a commentary on the people that are, this new generation. All of those participation trophies, all of the, my child could never do that, it's your fault, not my child. All that crap is, the hens are now, roosting. So.
I mean, well, this is just part of the comments from the club owners, I guess. Given the feedback and to avoid any potential negative impact on both our club and the artists involved, as well as to maintain the harmony within our community, we believe the most responsible course of action is to not move forward with the shows on April 11th and a few other dates. Like, this is throughout the calendar. Dave Smith on April, Louis Gomez on May the 31st through June, Jim Florentine for September, and sadly, Kurt Metzger on October 11 as well. This decision was not made lightly, and we want to ensure it does not reflect on your talent and quality of your work, but is instead a reflection of our commitment to our community's values. This is tight-ass repression you would expect in like the 1950s. I mean, this is the mentality that got Lenny Bruce arrested.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these comedians they run in opposition to our community standards and values.
I'm just what would they have done with Richard Pryor? Hell, Eddie Murphy, Raw could not be performed there today.
No.
Delirious, none of those.
I mean, this is just...
I don't think even Chris Rock could perform over in Seattle.
Well, we're going to need a printout of your entire set transcript, please, so we can approve or disapprove any content before taking the stage, and any deviation will find the lights being cut and the microphone unplugged. Fair warning, and please submit to our secretary by 4:00 tomorrow.
Well, I'm at the point where comedians just need to take stock of the political leanings of each city where they're at and book based on that. I mean, look what happened with Kathy Griffin. Couldn't even give her tickets away in red cities. She should just stick to the blue ones. Though, I mean...
Or how about this? Try being good.
Yeah, it's not, her... I don't think she's had any new material since before Obama was in office.
Hey, guys, how's everybody? Oh, my God, Donald Trump, am I right?
Yeah, that's her fault. That is her only material, is just Trump.
Yeah, that's pretty much
saying,
90 minutes of that.
Saying pretty vile things about, conservatives, too. So.
Well, probably should leave on a stimulating note here for everybody.
Oh, my God.
Send everybody.
Brad.
What? I'm just... Aggie, the show's nearly done. We need a happy ending.
Oh, God. Phrasing.
So, word of warning out there, mainly to you ladies in the audience. I'm just very concerned. I have, I have a deep concern for the ladies.
Yeah.
Because I got some penetrating commentary. I just want to help everybody out here. Excuse me, I wasn't finished. I want you all to be careful not to get a vibrator virus. This isn't funny.
Yes, it is.
It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. Apparently, there's a vibrator on the market that I don't know, how do I put this? Might inspire movements without your approval, or
just be bold. Just say it.
Well, okay. If anybody out there is in possession of this stimulation device purchased at Spencer's, it's called the Sexology P-Power 8-function rechargeable bullet vibrator. Let's just say you put it through its paces and the batteries run low. Do not, under any circumstance, reach. I'll wait.
Technically, it has no batteries because it needs to be charged.
Right. Well, it's a rechargeable, right? But
yeah.
But when it comes to insertion of the USB, what? I'm sorry. What?
I'm just gonna drink here.
Just I would say this: don't insert it in your laptop computer, because apparently this particular brand is available with a malware that comes with this particular model. Cyber criminals are using the Luma malware that's contained inside of this device that could actually strip information from your cryptocurrency wallets and browser extensions.
I'm just wondering why there's software in vibrator. Why is there software in a vibrator? I mean, y'all could not possibly imagine how red I was when Brad and I were discussing this particular story prior to getting
Exactly. This should only
prior to
have
the show.
this should have nothing but firmware in it.
But because I'm sorry, this is not my purview. I'm out of my depth here.
See what you did there.
I know.
Got it.
But I'm
so you're
trying
just
to
saying you haven't got your hands on this particular model.
I on any models. Okay. So I'm trying to make this work because in order for it to have malware, it must have some kind of software in the vibrator.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand why it would need software. Yes, mechanisms are fine, but with the mechanism, you don't necessarily need software. So why does this particular vibrator have software? That's a question for the ages, I would think. And I mean, I was so flabbergasted when we were discussing this. I mean, you saw how, seriously, I kept giggling. And yes, I was completely red. But after we hung up the phone, I started thinking, why would it have malware? I mean, it needs software in order to have malware. Why is there software in a vibrator? I don't get it. But, I don't know anything about these things. I have no idea what it does. And I might need software for some of their commands. I don't know. I'm just saying, ladies, just, we have covered sex toys before. Remember the wooden one that people say, oh, it's a penis. No, it's probably a mortar. It's probably a pestle. It's probably a sewing implement. Chill out. but this,
it's pretty safe to say you can, look for an AC outlet that's got either the converter or a USB, and don't use the laptop. Don't stick it in the little man in the port. That's all I'm saying. Little safety tip. How about that? Just the safety tip.
8-function rechargeable bullet vibrator. Thank you, Danielle. That is a phrase that will live in my brain, and I don't know how to scrub it out.
Most women only need 5 speeds. 8. Okay.
Why would you put it in a vibrator? This blows my mind.
Well, I would think it's designed to do just that.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Okay. Enough. I can't.
So on that note, before Aggie goes off to have her cigarette, we should sign off.
Okay. All right, Brad. So where can we find you?
I'll be at the night shift at the Hustler store downtown.
All right. I'm going to mute myself. Go on.
Yes, please. I will be available on a daily basis at townhall.com, where you can see my daily
How about
media
that?
feature there called Rift from the Headlines. I'm also at the front page of Red State on a regular basis, where I also have my twice weekly podcast there called Liable Sources, ripping an even bigger orifice into the media
Hello?
complex. And if you need to hear more
Can
of
you
me,
hear me?
yes, I'm talking.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I
was
couldn't
doing.
hear anything.
Oh, I was doing my sign off.
Okay.
Wow, that must have been a good finish then.
I guess. I don't know.
I will be here Thursday evening at 8 o'clock with Paul Young from ScreenRant.com as he and I guide you through the dark and dingy back alleys of Hollywood and bad movies on disasters in the making. Alternate Thursdays, I'm here with Ordy Packard. He and I walk you through all of the vital and important entertainment information on the culture shift. And of course, like tonight, every Tuesday at 8:30, I'm here with the ever-effervescent Aggie Reekin on the Cocktail Lounge. And if you need more of me than that, and let's face it, you do, you head over to Jitter. I'm at Martini Shark. And what about you, Aggie? Where can people find more of your magnificence?
Well, you can find me at Aggie Rican and at Aggie the Barkeep over on X. You can find me 8:30 p.m. Eastern Tuesday nights doing the Cocktail Lounge with you. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Friday nights doing He Said, She Said with Rick, our great producer. Tomorrow night, last Wednesday of the month, we will be doing Toxic Masculinity, where the guys get together to discuss masculinity. So it's going to be G, Ordy, Rick, and Andrew, and myself. I will be bringing the drinks for our Babe of the Month. It should be Bumpstock Barbie. I think that's who we have slated for tomorrow night. And Jeff and I do our book podcast once a month, the second Monday of every month. Spirited Books, also 8:30 p.m. Eastern, which is Aggie time. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm now going to go and probably laugh my ass off after we sign off.
Aggie's discombobulation has been brought to you by 8 Speed.
Go raise a glass and look at the scene.